Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 6-game NBA main set on Tuesday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL sites on Draftkings. If you guys cannot watch these YouTube videos, I also upload an Apple Podcast. We'll link down below. It's called the DKDFS Show. If you guys are interested in signing up for premium content, I'll offer that on patreon.com. A couple different packages, also linked down below. And finally, I want to thank Prize Picks for sponsoring this show. If this is your first time watching this video or you're not familiar with what Prize Picks is, basically it's a site where you're taking over-under on fantasy points. So for example, Nikola Vucevic is at 45 fantasy points projected for tomorrow. Do you like the under, do you like the over? They have NFL up for the Super Bowl. They have esports they can use. They have everything, every single sport. So if you guys want to sign up, you can use the code DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word. Link down below. You get a 100% match up to $100. But yeah, with that all out of the way, let's jump in the video. So before we talk about players and their prices for the 6-game slate, let's look back at my lineup here from Monday. And Monday, once. I don't think I've ever made a late pivot that has worked out for me. Don't think I've ever had a late pivot that's worked out for me. So let's go over my lineup. LaMelo Ball, Halliburton, Prince, Zion Williamson, Jarrett Allen, SGA, Will Barton, and Ja Morant. So my late pivot that I was talking about, I blame you, Walker. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he was in the Patreon live stream and he asked a 2v2. So I originally had Thad Young and DeMar DeRozan in for Zion and Will Barton, and then he asked me that. He was like, "Do you prefer Thad and DeMar or Zion and Will Barton?" I was thinking about it. I was just like, man, I kind of want some, New Orleans exposure. I didn't have any in my lineup at the time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make the pivot. And I pivot from Thad, who goes off for 40. DeMar only had like 30, but that game blew out, to Zion, who was okay. And then, Will Barton, obviously, game gets postponed. I did the math. If I stuck with that, I finished about 283. 283 was, I think I would have made like 250 on this one. Where is it? 283. Yeah, 250. So pain, but it is what it is. At the time, like I thought the pivot was close, but I was like, you know what? I want some New Orleans exposure. So made that pivot. Now, I had two guys in huge blowouts. SGA did not play the fourth quarter. Wasn't having an amazing game. He plays the fourth quarter, he easily goes for 40. So it's like, okay, blowout hurt there. 22 minutes for Ja Morant. Yes, I understand the game blew out, but like he wasn't even on pace for 30. So it's like at the moment, Memphis, I'm going to take just a wait and see until these guys get more minutes. Because right now they're just getting everyone like mid-20s minutes. Ja Morant literally played 22 minutes tonight. And then I had a 0 from Barton. So 0 from Barton, 22 minutes from Ja, and the blowout from SGA. And I was literally close to cashing in tournaments. The Giannis fade was key. Like, obviously, I was scared about that, but I was hoping for the blowout there. He was 50% owned. That game did blow out. So that ended up working out. But, yeah, and LaMelo Ball, too. He was the ultimate chalk. We got to, people that are like, oh, LaMelo was an easy fade. All right. He got in severe foul trouble. He missed out in a good 10-ish minutes or so. So it's like, all right, pump the brakes a little bit. If he doesn't get pick up those two quick fouls in the first quarter, then picks up a third with about 4 or 5 minutes left in the second quarter. So missed out on a good chunk of minutes in the first half, and then picked up his fourth and fifth pretty early in the second half. So it's like, all right, LaMelo missed out on a lot of minutes. If he would have played 35 minutes or so, which was, or whatever it was, an extra 10 minutes, he would have had a really, really good game. But yeah, that's really the look back there. For my lineup was honestly close to the cashing. If I stuck with my original, I win almost 3x, but that's how DFS goes sometimes. I feel like every single late pivot, I've never made a profitable late pivot, it feels like. But yeah, all right, so let's talk about this 6-game slate. We have 3 of the 6 games out right now. Memphis and the Pacers is a 221 over under. The Pacers 6-point favorites. Blazers, Wizards a 240.5 over under. Wizards are 2-point favorites. That one looks really appealing. And Celtics, Warriors a 224.5 over under. The Celtics are 3-point favorites. I do want to mention too, if you guys did not see my tweet, DraftKings will refund you up to basically what your entry fees if you had someone in that late game. I had Barton, so I'm gonna get my entry fees refunded. So as long as you had someone in the late game, you will get refunded your entry fees, which I think is really, really nice of DraftKings to do. But yeah, all right, so let's talk about, let's go team by team here. Let's start with Toronto and Orlando. So Toronto, Siakam, Van Fleet, and Lowry, I think all look like pretty decent plays at their respective prices. Honestly, like these guys are normal. Like last year, they were all like pretty consistent. This year, like all of them seem to be up and down. Just looking at box scores for the last 4 games for Siakam, 42, 26, 40, and 55. Van Fleet was on a heater and then went for 19 fancy points that last game. And then Kyle Lowry's been up and down too. 17, 34, 28, 47. So honestly, it's kind of hard to trust these guys right now. Norman Powell's got upgraded to questionable, so like I assume he does play. I don't know. There's a lot of good stars in this slate, and right now, like I think these guys are all just filler secondary plays. Like I don't think I'm going to get to any of the Toronto guys. Now Norman Powell, got to keep an eye on this. If he's out, we could possibly look to some value. If he's in, I expect him, as long as there's no limitations, to start and play like mid-30s minutes. If he does play, I think he's fine, but 6'4", it's like not an amazing price. I'm not going to Chris Boucher. The minutes are just way down on him. Only played 18 the last game. I guess you could try him in GPPs and hope he gets extended. Now, Aaron Baines, I liked him for value last night because I was like, hey, this is a bigger team against Orlando. I think he plays more minutes. He played basically 30 minutes. So this Orlando team, again, is big. They are missing Aaron Gordon, which we'll talk about. But I expect Baines, as long as he stays out of foul trouble, to probably play 25 to 30 minutes, which does make him a pretty good value play at this price point. And then, the fringe guys like Davis, Yuta, Godanabe for me the other night. These guys would only be viable if Norman Powell's out. Last game, Norman Powell's out. Terrence Davis started and played 26 minutes. I don't even think I could get to Watanabe. He only played 19. I mean, he played a few in the blowout. So I think he only plays about 15 in regulation, which is like, I don't know if I can do that. Stanley, Bembry played a little bit, but don't love either of them. I think the guy I would look to for value if Powell's out would probably be Terrence Davis at 4K. On the Orlando Magic side, so big news, Aaron Gordon is going to be out for a little bit. Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks he'll be out. So Nikola Vucevic at 8-2 with no Aaron Gordon. It's a pretty tempting price. There's a few studs in this slate that are really underpriced. Vucevic is one of them. As long as this game stays close, you could see a massive game from Nikola Vucevic. He shot 5 of 18 last game. 5 of 18 and still went for 45 fancy points. So I like Vooch a lot there. Fournier, secondary option for me, even with Gordon out. Cole Anthony's a fine option. I'm not going to play Terrence Ross. The value is more in play here with no Aaron Gordon, so I assume Gary Clark starts for Aaron Gordon. If he does, we probably get close to 30 minutes. I think that game against Charlotte, Aaron Gordon was out and he played 35. Super low usage guy, but like you could go to him for some salary. I think this is definitely setting up for kind of the stars and scrubs build. We'll talk about some of the stars, but there's a lot of good guys I think are underpriced. James Ennis has been on a minutes limit. We'll see if they lift that. He's only been playing about 15 to 20 minutes. If there's no minutes limit for him, I think he'd be an okay value play. Dwayne Bacon, I don't really want to play him, but I guess you can consider him. And then Kem Birch at 4-2. He's probably my favorite of the bunch because he's the best point per minute guy. Now, the issue is he's only center eligible, and there's a decent amount of good center plays on the slates. Like the opportunity cost of playing him at center might not be worth it. But yeah, those probably 4 Magic guys are playable. Does one really stand out? No, but I'm curious to see what they do with the starting lineup with no Aaron Gordon. Clippers and Nets. So you guys know I love targeting this Brooklyn team. Well, we have Kawhi Leonard at 9-2 and Paul George at 8-9. I think, look, 2 of the better spend-ups of the slate. Both should play mid-30s minutes in a close game. Again, just an absolutely amazing matchup. So I do like Kawhi. I do like Paul George a good amount at their respective prices. Ibaka and Zubac I'll stay away from. Nick Batum is currently questionable. If he plays, not a lot of interest in him. If he misses, Pat Patterson started, but he also shot 5 of 5, 3 of 3 from 3. He's just such a low usage guy. I wouldn't even play him if he starts. The guy that would be intriguing to me is Marcus Morris if Nick Batum is out. He actually played 28 minutes the last game. I would expect similar minutes, like mid to high 20s minutes. At 4-7, I think he would be a decent value play. There's still no Pat Beverly, so Reggie Jackson's been starting and playing mid-20s minutes. I think he goes a little bit overlooked in the slate, but again, he's a good offensive player. I think he's actually viable in that price range. Lou Williams is just a strictly tournament play. The minutes are just kind of all over the place. It depends. Like, he will play a little bit more if he's playing well. If he's struggling, they will limit him. So, definition of a GPP play. But you never know. Maybe we get the vintage Lou Williams game here and like he plays close to 30 minutes and breaks the slate. Like, it could be possible. We really haven't seen much of that from Lou Williams this year, but I know he's still got it in him. And moving on to the Brooklyn side, honestly, with all the good stars in the slate, I have very little interest in this Brooklyn team. Harden, Durant, Kyrie, all healthy, just all secondary options for me at the top. And the value I'm completely staying away from with everyone healthy. So Brooklyn's a team I have like no interest in. Memphis and the Pacers. So right now, I am going to stay away from every single player in this Grizzlies team. Everyone's playing mid-20s minutes. Until we see more minutes for Ja and these starters, I'm just not doing it. And it's not really the best matchup either, and I prefer other studs. Like, everyone on Memphis are basically stayaways. Like, cheaper options, D'Anthony Melton has been playing decent minutes off the bench. He's actually been playing well. If you want to continue to ride that hot streak, you can. I don't know if he continues to play that well, but that's probably it. Like, Tillman's priced up a bit. I mean, these guys no one's playing big minutes. So it's hard to feel really good about any of those Memphis guys. On the Pacers side, a little bit different. So, really like the spot here. Domantas Sabonis, under 9K against this Memphis front court. I really like the price here for Sabonis. I think he's one of the better spend-ups of the day for sure. Should play close to 40 minutes. Besides that, normally has a pretty high floor. Did have, his floor game of only 32 fans, which normally is a guy that can get you at least 40 with upside of like 60. So, I do like Sabonis quite a bit. I think you can make the argument for Malcolm Brogdon. The issue is there's a lot of good guard plays on the slate, so I think Brogdon goes overlooked. But I don't mind him as a contrarian option. He's gone for 40+ the last 4 games. So, Brogdon is firmly in play. Miles Turner, there's a lot of good center plays. He did foul out. Yeah, I guess you could do it, but I think there's better center plays on the slate. These secondary options like Lamb, McConnell, Holiday, McDermott are all okay. If I had to pick one, it probably would be Jeremy Lamb, who has played over 30 minutes in 3 of the last 4 games. So, he has, had a few blocks, a few steals kind of to boost his stats. So I think he's if I had to pick one of the secondary options, I think it would be Jeremy Lamb. Moving on to Portland, Washington, and this is a game that looks really, really appealing. A 240 over-under, 2 teams that play fast, 2 teams that play no defense. This is by far my favorite game to stat. Damian Lillard at the top at 10-7, I think is firmly in play because of the matchup. They got blown out tonight, I should say. So, he didn't play huge minutes. I really, really like Dame here, even at 10-7. I think he's one of the better spin-ups of the slate. Love the matchup. And I do really like Enes Kanter, too, at 6'9". He was on pace for a pretty good game, and that game blew out. I think he had a double-double in limited action. I love the matchup here against Washington, against Robin Lopez or Wagner or Rui. Whoever he's matched up against, Kanter should be able to have his way. So I really like Kanter there, and I think he goes a little bit overlooked. The rest of Portland are probably stayaways. Gary Trent, priced up, 2-score independent for me. Covington, Melo, probably better options in the slate. Simon's maybe the one guy I think you could look to. He's been playing mid-20s minutes. He's cheap enough. So, we got to play some value guys. And I think you can make the argument for Simons because of the matchup there at 4-3. On the Washington side, so you guys knew Westbrook was the guy I loved last slate, and we got him at decently low ownership for that matchup. The price didn't move. He played 35 minutes, and the price moved $100. And now he gets a matchup against Portland. So it's and you guys know, he does not like Damian Lillard. Yeah, I really like Russell Westbrook at 9.1. Also, again, one of my favorite spin-ups. Now, there's about 4 or 5 guys that look really good, right? We have Westbrook. We have Dame. We have Sabonis. We have the Clippers guys. We have Vucevic, right? Those guys all look really good here. You got to make some tough calls with these studs at the top. Now, Brad Beal is also viable. He will be lower owned. I prefer the price on Westbrook, but we've seen some massive games from Beal, so do not rule out Beal. I think Westbrook will be more popular this game because he had the bigger game last time out. I do prefer the price on Westbrook, but both Westbrook and Beal firmly in play. And you could honestly play them both with Lillard and then just go value from there and just hope this game goes 150, or it goes to overtime or something like that. Value-wise for the Wizards, I have a hard time trusting Rui or Bertans. Ish Smith had a decent game off the bench in 24 minutes. Don't love the 4. Like you can play him, but I don't love it. The guy that does somewhat intrigue me here is Mo Wagner at 3.8. Played 21 minutes, did shoot 7 of 8. I expect him to be the backup center and play about 15 to 20 minutes. I think you can make the argument for him. Now, my worry is, again, they have Robin Lopez. They have Alex Len that they can still... They have, like, other guys where it's like, if he struggles, they could pull the plug on him really quickly. So it's, like, kind of an uneasy feeling. But, like, Wagner would be probably the value guy if I had to pick someone. Like, Denny only played 16 minutes. They're kind of taking it easy on his minutes. I probably wouldn't go there. All right, moving on to the last couple games here. Boston and Golden State. So JAYSON Tatum at 8.6. I do like the price on him, but I just have a hard time prioritizing him over those other guys I just mentioned. Now, that's going to lower the ownership on him. Should play in a close game. If the game stays close, 35 to 40 minutes. So, like, I do like Tatum. You could play him over those other stars I mentioned. I think he does look a little bit underpriced. Brown, Kemba, secondary options for me. Tice at 5K. Has been getting more minutes, 24, 28, and 35 in 3 of the last 4 games. He's in foul trouble there against the Spurs. I think it's priced about right. Tristan Thompson, the minutes are going down in him. Only played 15. Yeah, you could take a shot at him and hope he plays mid-20s minutes. Robert Williams is another guy that, like, the minutes are up and down. It's just, I never like Boston because of this 3-headed center rotation that they always seem to have. Robert Williams is the cheapest of the bunch. If he plays 15 to 20 minutes, I could see him having a good game. But the question is, again, will he get those minutes? I do not know. And that's it for Boston. So let's move on to Golden State. Golden State, Steph Curry is just a contrarian GPP play. He's going to be low on, but like I said, I just have a hard time playing him over those other stars I mentioned. Wiggins, Oubre, secondary plays. Draymond Green is below 5K. There's no Wiseman. He might have to play a little bit more of the small ball 5. It's like, all right, I think you could talk me into some Draymond Green here at 4.9. I know he hasn't been great this season, but like, I think that is a little bit too cheap for Draymond. Again, no James Wiseman, so it's probably, there's going to be a combination of Looney and Pascal that play a little bit more at the 5. Looney played 23 minutes. Again, some of that was in garbage time. I think he's an okay value play. I assume he starts. I think Pascal, who only played 8 minutes the last game due to back spasms, I think he'll probably play a little bit more. Like, I'm guessing we get maybe around 20 minutes from Pascal. I think you could use him for value as well. But yeah, that's probably it. I don't think I'm going to get to anyone else. So it's Curry as a contrarian GPP play. I think Draymond Green is probably the guy I like the best under 5K. And then you have 2 value guys. Pascal and Looney, I think, are both playable. I think Looney might be a little bit safer minutes-wise, but I think Pascal probably will have to play, 15 to 20 minutes, which at almost mid-price, you can consider him. And lastly, Detroit and Utah. So this Detroit team, I'm wondering if this game gets played. It's like why did that game get postponed? Was it COVID on one side? I guess I didn't look into that too much, but keep an eye on this game. I don't love this game, especially on the Detroit side. There's not a lot I like. Grant, that's even at 7K. It's just a contrarian option. I'm not playing Blake. Plumlee is fine if he stays out of foul trouble. Rose at 4 or 5 in 20 minutes could get it done, but I have a hard time really getting to any of these guys. Maybe you can go to Isaiah Stewart for value. Probably plays around 20 minutes, but there's just really not a lot I like on the Pistons side. On the Utah side, if the question is, do you think this game stays close? Right? Because this Pistons team is not great. If you do, I think the main guys look good. And Mitchell, Gobert, and Conley. Now, my issue would be, are you going to play Donovan Mitchell over, let's just say, Russell Westbrook? Or are you going to play him over Damian Lillard? Or Domantas Sabonis? Or Vooch at 8K? Or those Clippers guys? Right, so if I'm playing the late slate, the 2-game late slate, then yeah, I'm probably going to load up on Utah. In the main slate, I have a hard time prioritizing these guys. I do like the matchup. If this game stays close, you probably will see at least one of these guys have a good game. But like I said, I prefer those other stars I mentioned. So Mitchell, Gobert, Conley, I think are all solid plays if you think Detroit can keep this game close. The secondary plays for Utah are probably passes like Bojan, Clarkson, O'Neal, and Ingles. It's really the top 3 guys, Mitchell, Gobert, Conley. Gobert probably has the highest floor. He'll probably play about 30 to 35 minutes if the game stays close. It is a really good matchup. Donovan Mitchell had a floor game last time, but we've seen some big games from him. Again, he's been a little up and down. Conley's been a little bit safer, but doesn't have as much upside. So all 3 of those main Utah guys are viable if you think this game stays close. But yeah, that's really it for the breakdown today, and I think that's going to do it for the video as well. So if you guys have been enjoying the content so far, I would really appreciate if you leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't want to upload videos you don't know live. Thanks again. Have a great night, guys, and I'll see you all tomorrow in the live stream.